Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for August 28th, 2021, Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Persistence is quite interesting. We do a lot of different, many visualization techniques and manifesting exercises to start attracting a specific goal, vision, or dream in our lives. However, sometimes life will test you, and your ordinary day can become extremely challenging, just so you will grow, expand, and evolve onto the next level. Whenever we are pushed to our limit in this life, the universe is attempting to expand the old ceiling we've placed above ourselves. It's trying to help us get in touch with a deeper aspect of ourselves that is fearless, unstoppable, and undefeatable. Whenever we are truly blocked by this life, just stop and notice the end result that you truly are trying to attain and how much you are actually invested in creating it. The old saying that we must either sink or swim in this life is one that shows up on a moment-to-moment basis. Every second of our lives, we have the choice to thrive or survive. We can choose to just get by or start living our dream life. We can choose to just get by or start living our dream lives. It's the ordinary moments in life where big decisions are made and our true character appears on the stage of life's grand play. We can either learn to become a sheep and follow the flock wherever it leads, or become a lion who must constantly break free from its false sheep's clothing. We can find great strength in playing the rebel and also find tremendous peace in merging with the flock. However, the most enlightened path of all is coming from a place that is free from both extremes, living beyond the world in a state of being that is at peace no matter what occurs. This is what inner mastery is all about. Great spirits have always found violent opposition from mediocre minds. Great spirits have always found violent opposition from mediocre minds. Albert Einstein. In order to grow in this life, we must choose to take risks. And it's interesting, the older our bodies become, the less risk we take. When it has been a proven fact, the longer and healthier you live, the older you get, the more risks you take. Isn't that interesting? But we seem to do the opposite of that. The older we get, the less risk we take. The greater the risk, the more the potential is for tremendous growth to occur. When we take a bold step out of our comfort zones, we immediately move into our power. That's why it seems so uncomfortable for us. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. No, I'll just stick with what I'm used to. No, I'm not going to try that. I'll just stick with what I'm used to. When we take a bold step out of our comfort zone, we immediately move into our power. This can be scary for others who can feel a lack of control, status quo, and become threatened. This is never to be taken personally, for these controlling people are simply pretending to be the general manager of their universe, trying to keep their life on track, safe, and inside a certain container. Any original thinking, words, or actions could make them realize how unhappy they are inside. And then they must admit how small and overly controlled they truly feel inside. Now, one of the main goals of this life is breaking free from all limitations and boundaries, excuse me, on what we think is possible. Whenever we feel defeated by this life or encounter tremendous resistance, remember that it is an opportunity to build tenacity, courage, and persistence. There are no failures in the eyes of the divine. Everyone is on purpose, and everything happens for a reason. When we were babies, we first learned how to crawl, then stand up, take our first steps, fall down dozens of times before we got the balance right. Even though you may have landed flat on your face, the truth is that you never gave up. You persisted to learn how to walk, and eventually you even learned to run. If one advances confidently in the direction of one's dreams and endeavors to live the life which one has imagined, one will meet with a success unexpected in common hours. Henry David Thoreau. Many of the most successful and famous people in this life did not have an easy ride to the top. Most of them met huge resistance and rejection along the way. So I'm going to share a list of people. A few truly amazing beings who met violent opposition along their journey and still persisted to succeed. Take note of where you are feeling deeply challenged by life, by this life, and what you most need to do this week to transcend it. As I read these people and a little bit about them, Albert Einstein did not speak until he was 4 years old and did not read until he was 7. His parents thought he was subnormal. One of his teachers described him as a mentally slow, unsociable, and adrift forever in foolish dreams. He was expelled from school and was refused admittance to the Zurich Polytechnic School. He did eventually learn to speak and read, even do a little math. Winston Churchill failed 6th grade. He was subsequently defeated in every election for public office until he became prime minister at the age of 62. He later wrote, "Never give in, never give in, never, 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 in nothing, great or small, large or petty. Never give in except to convictions of honor and good sense. Never, 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 never give up." As a young man, Abraham Lincoln went to war. A captain, returned a private. Afterwards, he was a failure as a businessman. As a lawyer in Springfield, he was too impractical and temperamental to be a success. He turned to politics and was defeated in his first try for the legislature. Again defeated in his first attempt to be nominated for Congress. Defeated in his application to be commissioner of the General Land Office. Defeated in the senatorial election of 1854. Defeated in his efforts for the vice presidency in 1856. And defeated in the senatorial election of 1858. He later became the 16th president of the United States of America. Walt Disney was fired by a newspaper editor because he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. He went bankrupt several times before he built Disneyland. In fact, the proposed park was rejected by the city of Anaheim on the grounds that it would only attract riffraff. Henry Ford could not read nor write, failed and went broke 5 times in business before he succeeded. As an inventor, Thomas Edison, we know, made 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at inventing the light bulb. When a reporter asked, how did it feel to fail 1,000 times? And Edison replied, I didn't fail 1,000 times. Light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. Thomas Edison's teacher said he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from his first 2 jobs for being non-productive. R.H. Macy failed 7 times before his store in New York City caught on. 7 times he failed. Louis Pasteur was only a mediocre pupil in undergraduate studies and ranked 15th out of 22 students in chemistry. Van Gogh sold only 1 painting during his life, and this to the sister of one of his friends, for 400 francs, about $50. This didn't stop him from completing over 800 paintings. F.W. Woolworth was not allowed to wait on customers when he worked in a dry goods store because his boss said he didn't have enough sense. When Alexander Graham Bell's telephone was struggling to get started, his owners offered all their rights to Western Union for $100,000. The offer was disdainfully rejected with the pronouncement, "What use could this company make of an electrical toy, and how many people have a telephone today?" Sigmund Freud was booed from the podium when he first presented his ideas to the scientific community of Europe. He returned to his office and kept on writing. Rocket scientist Robert Goddard found his ideas bitterly rejected by his scientific peers on the grounds that rocket propulsion would not work in the rarefied atmosphere of outer space. As an expert said of Vince Lombardi, he possesses minimal football knowledge and lacks motivation. Lombardi would later write, "It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up." After Carl Lewis won the gold medal for the long jump in the 1996 Olympic Games, he was asked what he attributed his longevity, having competed for almost 20 years. He said, "Remembering that you have both wins and losses along the way. I don't take either one too seriously." Babe Ruth is famous for his past home run record, but for decades he also held the record for strikeouts. He hit 714 home runs, struck out 1,330 times in his career, about which he said, "Every strikeout brings me closer to the next home run." Hank Aaron went 0 for 5 his first time at bat with the Milwaukee Braves. Stan Smith was rejected as a ball boy for a Davis Cup tennis match because he was too awkward and clumsy. He went on to clumsily win Wimbledon and the U.S. Open and 8 Davis Cups. Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bill Walsh, and Jimmy Johnson accounted for 11 of the 19 Super Bowl victories from 74 to 93. They also share the distinction of having the worst records of the first season head coaches in NFL history. They didn't win a single game. John Unitas' first pass in the NFL was intercepted and returned for a touchdown. Joe Montana's first pass was also intercepted. And while we're on quarterbacks, during his first season, Troy Aikman threw twice as many interceptions, 18, as touchdowns, 9. Oh, and he didn't win a single game. You think there's a lesson here? Charles Schultz had every cartoon he submitted rejected by his high school yearbook staff. Oh, and Walt Disney wouldn't hire him. After Fred Astaire's first screen test, the memo from the testing director of MGM dated 1933 read, "Can't act, can't sing, slightly bald, can dance a little." He kept that memo over the fireplace in his Beverly Hills home. Fred Astaire once observed that when you're experimenting, you have to try so many things before you choose what you want that you may go days getting nothing but exhaustion. And here is the reward for perseverance. The higher up you go, the more mistakes you're allowed, right at the top. If you make enough of them, it's considered to be your style. After his first audition, Sidney Poitier was told by the casting director, "Why don't you stop wasting people's time and go out and become a dishwasher or something?" It was at that moment, recalls Poitier, that he decided to devote his life to acting. When Lucille Ball began studying to be an actress in 1927, she was told by the head instructor of the John Murray Anderson Drama School, "Try any other profession." The first time Jerry Seinfeld walked on the stage at a comedy club as a professional comic, He looked out at the audience, froze, and forgot the English language. He stumbled through a minute and a half of material and was jeered off stage. He returned the following night, closed his set to wild applause. After Harrison Ford's first performance as Hotel Bellhop in the film Dead Heat on a merry-go-round, the studio vice president called him in his office. "Sit down, kid." The studio head said, "I want to tell you a story. First time Tony Curtis was ever in a movie, he delivered a bag of groceries. We took one look at him, knew he was a movie star." Ford replied, "I thought you were supposed to think that he was a grocery delivery boy." The vice president dismissed Ford with, "You ain't got it, kid. You ain't got it. Now get out of here." Woody Allen, "I don't want to achieve immortality through my work. I want to achieve it through not dying. 80% of success is showing up." Michael Caine's headmaster told him, "You will be a laborer all your life." Charlie Chaplin was initially rejected by Hollywood studio chiefs because his pantomime was considered nonsense. Decca Records turned down a recording contract with the Beatles with the evaluation, we don't like their sound. Groups of guitars are on their way out." After Decca rejected the Beatles, Columbia Records followed suit. In 1954, Jimmy Denny, manager of the Grand Ole Opry, fired Elvis Presley after one performance. He told Elvis, "You ain't going nowhere, son. You ought to go back to driving a truck." Beethoven handled the violin awkwardly and preferred playing his own compositions instead of improving his technique. His teacher called him hopeless as a composer, and of course, you know that he wrote 5 of his greatest symphonies while completely deaf. Leo Tolstoy flunked out of college. He was described as both unable and unwilling to learn. No doubt a slow developer. Louisa May Alcott, author of Little Women, was encouraged to find work as a servant by her family. Emily Dickinson had only 7 poems published in her lifetime. 18 publishers turned down Richard Bach's story about a soaring eagle. Macmillan finally published Jonathan Livingston Seagull in 1970. By 1975, it had sold more than 7 million copies in the U.S. alone. Jack London received 600 rejection slips before he sold his first story. 21 publishers rejected Richard Hooker's humorous war novel, MASH. He had worked on it for 7 years. 27 publishers rejected Dr. Seuss's first book. To think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we were created, when we created them. We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them, Albert Einstein. The purpose of this in this meditation is to understand that the external world, the authority that has played havoc with this civilization for thousands of years, is wrong. And it always has been. You see, just these people that were in the light side, there's thousands of others that never were. Could have been a neighbor, relative, somebody. The point is that we are so powerful that when we really start to understand, we are the masters of our own destinies. We always have been. We always will be. It is to discover that, for each and every one of us to discover by going within and discovering the God that we all are. And in this meditation, we have a couple of people that are experiencing heavy-duty, abrupt illness. And we want to make sure that we keep our attention on them and everyone on the planet that is suffering. And we never give up, ever, ever, ever. And these two folks, the one is Jane Jameson and Hank Zaremski. So Jane Jameson and Hank Zaremski, both in the hospital, two different hospitals, both experiencing unusual calamities. So if you will, go to the place where you're not going to be interrupted. And I'm sure we all are. And the first thing that we care to do is relax our bodies. Now, we're masters of these bodies. Most of us don't know that. So we can relax them in the event that you know that you're not them, that you're not the body. You're the God within the body. You're what powers the body. So this way you can look at the body unobtrusively and non-judgmental. You can look at the ego mind. See, the body in its own separatism, it appears to be separate, is like a magnet that attracts everything through the ego mind. Just everything. So we watch as the body just basically absorbs all of this, all of these things, all of these stresses, fears, worries. Have you ever noticed that maybe one worry is gone, right? And it doesn't seem like that several more come in. And as you eliminate them, more are there. It doesn't seem never ending that these worries that we have, stresses and fears, the ego mind keeps them coming. And the reason is the ego mind is so insecure. It's not confident. It's always worried that it's not going to get what it wants. The main issue on this planet in this now is that so many, whether on world or off world, are controlled by their ego minds. It's why we have war. It's why we have greed, hatred, and anger. The ego mind. And the only reason, it's not saying the ego mind is bad. It just means that we have not mastered them, nor do we know how, period. So when you're worrying, stressing, and fearing, anxiety about whatever, it's the ego mind that's attracting your attention to it. So when you're able to look outside of the ego mind, you watch how they operate. And you'll find out that the fears, worries, stresses, and anxieties, they're constant. They're constantly being literally machine gunned at you every single moment. A lot of them just pass by, but a lot of them don't. This is why the body gets so stressed out. Stress is the number one destroyer of these biological life forms. So as you watch, you learn. You learn how insecure the ego mind is. This is when you'll understand that you'll know immediately when the ego mind is trying to be the master. You'll know it. You'll feel it in your heart. It's when you start worrying or stressing or fearing, or these thoughts that come in that are absolutely absurd that cause you to worry, stress, and fear. They come out of nowhere. I mean, they aren't yours. So the body begins to dump the garbage. And the garbage is worry, stress, and fear, anxiety, all of it, all of those lower frequencies that literally flood us on a daily basis, nightly basis, morning basis, every waking hour, and every sleeping hour, 24/7. So we choose to say to ourselves, God, let's take care of the body and make sure it's not stressed. Let's eliminate all of this stuff, all the fears and worries and anxieties. You stare at them and go, okay, what's the fear? All right, fear, let's sit down here on the couch and let's have this conversation and let's get to the bottom of this and why I'm having this fear. Why are you with me? And these things will disappear. You'll be amazed. And as they disappear, what happens with the body? The body just starts to relax. Instead of being blown up like a balloon ready to pop, it deflates. All this anxiety, stress, and fear leaves it. You know why? Because you're not in it. You're leaving the mind and the ego alone. You're stepping outside of them. And you may choose to do this several times a day until you've mastered it. So every time the ego mind comes up and starts to interject a fear, worry, or stress on something just absolutely ludicrous, you'll know how to abate it, eliminate it. The body becomes lighter. And as the body becomes lighter, it becomes relaxed. And it doesn't think. It doesn't worry. It doesn't fear. It's like it's in a cocoon of total silence, of just being. And that is the now. The now is the only thing that any of us ever will have in this life. The now. Moment to moment. Your breath. As you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, you're in the now as long as you focus on the breath. Because the breath is the now. You ever heard of, yesterday's breath or tomorrow's breath? It is only in the now. We focus the moment to moment. This stills the ego mind. So all this worry, stress, and fear, and anger, and all of it doesn't come in. It doesn't come in. So you almost feel like you're floating. You're kind of like in this void, this vortex. And you can look outside and you can see all the storm going on and all the havoc and all the worry, stress, and fear, and you're not in it because you've chosen to go within, stay within, in the center of the storm. Moment to moment. Everything, moment to moment, then becomes the past. Now, we all reminisce. We reminisce about the past because we have memories and we store them in our subconscious minds. That's our library, our private library. Then we go in, we take a book off the shelf, and, this was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I wonder where those people are now. I wonder what's going on with them. This was a great time here. This one wasn't too good, but boy, it taught me a lot. But then we move on. We don't stay there. We just don't stay there. Some of us do, though. And the past is about as dank as it could ever be if when you stay there. Because it's dead. It doesn't exist anymore. All old things that were in the now that are long gone, completely removed. And you catch yourself and you say, why am I going back here and staying back here? It's dead. It's like an elephant graveyard. Dank, nothing moving, no air movement. It's all cloudy, foggy. But consciously or even unconsciously, people will do that because to them it's more of a comfort zone than the now. So they stay there so long that they bring the past into a future that doesn't exist, create that future from that past, and relive that past in that future. And not necessarily are they aware of it, but they do it. You ever talk with people, interact with them in this life, where you ever say to them, why are you always going into the past? You know, right now is what's going on, not always what you talk about 40 years ago, 50 years ago, what you did. That's why a lot of people will say, whatever we do, we seem to end up here. Others of us will go into the future. The future doesn't exist because we're creating it in the now. And if you create your future in the now, then you'll know. This is the future I desire. And then the universe will create it as you go forward. But a lot of us will want to know, when am I going to meet this person? Or when am I going to have this? And why hasn't this happened for me? And why does this always happen to me? It can drive you absolutely bonkers between the past and the future. And if there's those of us who stay in the now, no matter what, we stay in the now. You know, we know that we get these thoughts. They're like clouds, you know, passing in the sky. You grab onto them, you float off. So you'll be focused on something right in the now and wander off. And it's almost like it's not even controllable. You just kind of float off into something else. And it's imperative to be gentle, kind, generous, and humble, and in 24/7 deep gratitude. And you just say to yourself, okay, so I'm floating off. This thought's not mine. So I'm going to focus on my breath. In through my nose, out through my mouth, I'm in the now. And every time you focus on your breath, listen to your breathing, you're in the now. 3,000% of the time. That's pretty nifty to have that understanding. Many people don't. The majority don't. They will. Now, the body that we're in, the soul enters the body, powers the body. The soul is heaven, the body's earth. And every single step we take, and we're consciously aware to a certain extent, we're creating paradise. It's what you desire this life to be for you. That's why I always say it's about you. It's always about you. It's the life that you desire to experience. So when we walk the face of this earth, we're creating paradise. Every step. You'll notice it. Take your shoes off once in a while. Walk in the grass. Watch what happens with the grass. Watch what happens with your connection. You see a butterfly? The butterfly is you. And you're the butterfly. Now, a lot of people think that's absolutely absurd. But it is truth. We are creating a paradise, a God-planet paradise, because we've chosen to increase our vibrational frequencies in deep, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. It's automatic. When more and more of us begin to choose to do this and to finally let go of the external, physical, material world which we created to entertain ourselves. But somewhere along the line, we forgot who and what we were. And now we're here to rediscover that. We are the God in the body and not the body. That we created all this externality to entertain us. And that this life should never be taken so seriously that it overwhelms you. You can look at this planet. We also shine the light that we are. 360 degrees, 24/7. That light floods this planet. All life the highest supreme value in the universe. It floods it. It is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest, eternal love. And if you were to step outside in outer space and look at the planet from afar, its brightness is so bright that everything in the universe dims in comparison to it. Now we look at these bodies and we can see in these bodies that we see these, you can see them, you feel their vibrational frequency, they're etheric, they're spiritual, so they're not, as we perceive solid to be, you can't pick them up. But from your tailbone to the top of your head, there's 7 of these energy vortexes. Some people call them chakras, some people say there's more, some people say there's less. Let's just go with the 7. This is what the God, flows through, these energy vortexes, these 7 different colored wheels of light. What's their purpose? They're the spiritual plane as the God, is. And here's another thing. You are those chakras, and they are you. And you flow through them. So this is how we would know everything there is to know about our bodies when we become awake enough to do so. And we connect to all of our emotions, all of our organs, all the way down to the quark and the quantum level. We know it all. We know everything, the blood, the information highway of this body. This is why we will eventually discover, all of us, that we are the power of healing. We will be able to heal these bodies in an instant. We will know exactly what they need and desire, and we will know exactly how to keep them in perfect working order. You'll be able to clean any organ like your pineal gland. Pineal gland is a little crusty. Let's clean it up. Let's make it vibrant and healthy, fully functioning. It's like when you're sad, when you're depressed, when you're unhappy, when you're happy, when you're joyous, when you're filled of vibrancy, excitement, enthusiasm. You, the God in that body, knows right down to the T why that is. Now, all of us are parts of each other. And the different parts that we are, some of them are really asleep. Others are awake to a certain extent. So the ones that aren't awake, that are asleep, are always with us because they're part of us. They just don't participate in the meditations. They don't hear. They're in a complete, almost like a cocoon, suspended animation. So we seek out the other parts of us that are awake, consciously aware, which is all the light energy beings and all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever, because all the light energy beings are all of those who house the God. And that includes the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the archetypes, ascended masters, Kuan Yin, Maitreya, Buddha, Lakshmi, Ganesh, Gaia, Saint Germain, Christ, El Morya, Mandantia, Pel, Thoth, Yella, Yeshua, many, many, many more. It includes the civilizations, inhabitants of Hollow Earth, Agartha, beneath Earth, inner Earth. It includes all the off-worlders, the galactics, the celestials. Includes all of our loved ones who have ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes that we've inhabited. All of us, everything. All that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Which we're all part of. And the archangels, they're a civilization that vibrate at a different frequency than we do. That's why we don't see them walking down the street. You know, how many of you see, there's 50 angels sitting down enjoying the sunlight with their wings relaxed? Now, we meet with them, we interact with them. Not necessarily we know it in the moment, but we do know that we get this feeling through our heart minds, through the heart, that you say, that had to have been an angel because of it. I know it was, the message. And the message that they have is the same, it's just delivered in a plethora of different ways. And it boils down to this. Isn't it absolutely magna glorious, magnificent, stupendous to be alive in these bodies? And once you get it, that's bliss. They can surround any one of us in the tens of thousands at any time. Because of their vibrational frequency, they can house a large number in a small area. The ascended masters, they've mastered ascending into a physical form. And out of physical form, hold pure consciousness God form. We are mastering physical form, creating our experiences to perfect our creation. All the light energy beings, including this planet, the ones that we're somewhat familiar with, the fairies, the sprites, the elves, the gnomes, the dwarves, the trees, the trolls, the elementals, earth, air, water, fire, ether, wood, the mermaid, the dolphin, the whale, the pegasus, the unicorn, the centaur, the minotaur, many, many, many more. The eyes that we have with these bodies only see 1% of what is. And they come in shapes, color, sizes, and forms which we do not see, but they are with us in this now. And understand, this is in the number of gigaplexes. One gigaplex fills this entire universe with not even 1 inch of sacred space to spare. They're coming in trillions of gigaplexes from trillions of universes. The galactics, off-worlders, celestials. We only know a smidgen of them. The Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Andromedans, the Sirians, the Felines, Zeta Reticuli, the Nords, the Greys, the Reptilians, the Dracos, the Golden Pyramid, the Avian. There's endless civilizations throughout existence. Over 1,000 through this solar system alone. Different species, different civilizations, and trillions from all the different universes. Now, they've been assisting us in our evolution, enlightenment, ascension, freeing ourselves from our own self-imposed bondage and our own self-imposed slavery. All of our loved ones who've ascended out of body in this lifetime and all lifetimes we've inhabited. In the billions, they're with us in this meditation. All gathered. Only those who are consciously aware that they are of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal love, and of and from the highest of deepest, deepest, deepest eternal gratitude, can be with us in this meditation. The sleepers are sleeping. They're not with us. They're with us asleep, but not proactive in this meditation. And arm in arm, hand in hand, we're in full compassion, non-judgment, non-ego, non-negativity, stillness of mind, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, peace, tranquility, benevolence, prosperity, abundance. And we're all one, and we're all love, and we're all God. And our God Force Love Light energy is in all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. And it continues to intensify, and it continues to expand. We immediately form a circle of light around the equator of this planet Earth, Gaia, Arya, in this now. This light emanates from the God Force Love Light energy within each and every single one of us. It is so bright that it grays out the darkness of sacred space. It would take a billion trillion suns to even come close to its brilliance. And this is the highest of the highest high, the deepest of the deepest deepest, and the purest of the purest purest eternal love. It is what we're made of. And we're flooding this planet through its transition, through its ascension, which means all of us that are consciously aware, with the purest love, gratitude, and peace, 24/7, unending, flooding all of our brothers and sisters, all life, the highest supreme value in the universe, nonstop. Feel it through your heart-mind. Absolutely magna-glorious. We begin to ascend above the planet. As we ascend, we're immediately met with this massive ocean of glitter. It's everywhere. And with the googleplexes of us, you see these, it's like flashing, vibrant colors, beams of light reflecting and hitting all of us constantly. So we're drawn to the reflection point, and we notice these little tiny microscopic mirrors, perfectly etched, that we enter. And we discover that all of us that are all gathered here are teaching and learning from each other, always, 24/7. We're either teachers or students, students or teachers or both, nonstop, no matter who enters your life, for however short period of time, seconds, minutes, hours, years, months. They're either teaching you how to be or how not to be. You as well to them. We're immediately met with the emerald green flaming healing light of Archangel Raphael. This is a column of light that we created to remind us all that we are the power of healing. We are then met with the violet, blue, purple flaming light of Archangel Michael. This is a column of light that we created that reminds us all of our omnipotent power, strength, and resolve. We are then met with the white fire. This is a column of light that we created that reminds us all that from head to toe, inside and out, we were protected with a white fire armor, way beyond anything on the earthly plane. And this white fire armor emanates from the God Force Love Light energy within each and every one of us, the pure consciousness, the God. Now it protects us 24/7 forever. No demon possessions, no attachments, no lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies. They can't come near us at those higher vibrational frequencies. They can't. They'll vaporize. They know it. They stay away. So we're always protected. Know it. Feel it through your heart, mind. But only you have the power that if you decide to lower your vibrational frequency low enough through hatred, anger, greed, deception, manipulation, envy, hurriness, stress, anxiety, you will create a breach, whether consciously or unconsciously. You'll create a breach in your white fire armor, enough so to allow the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies to come flooding in. Now, if you do decide to do this, you're immediately met with a double column of light. The first one is the purple transmuting flame, which we created to remind us that we can bring in the purple transmuting flame. We can transmute all of these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies into neutralized substance, sending them back into pure consciousness where they are no more. We are immediately right behind that met with the violet ray. This is a column of light that we created that reminds us all that we can bring in the violet ray. We can literally cleanse and purify the area where these lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies once were, sealing the breach in our white fire armor, restoring our vibrational harmony of the highest, deepest, purest, eternal love, gratitude, and peace. We are then met with the golden white pink light. This is a column of light that we created that reminds us all that we are the sun, the sunlight. We are the rain and the rainbows. We are the sunsets and the sunrises. We are the clouds in the sky. We are the oceans, the rivers, the lakes, the streams, the trees, the forests, the soils, the animals. We are everything, and everything is us. So the next time you see or view a sunset or a sunrise, a starry lit night sky, an ocean view, a mountain view, a rainbow, it is you. You're the beauty, the majesty, the divinity. You're the joy, the love, the peace, the gratitude. It is you and you're it. Always have been, always will be, ever, beyond, and forever. You're the God. We continue to ascend above the planet. We come in full contact with this massive crystalline light tower, which we created, that's larger than this solar system. Some of us step outside our physical form and hover effortlessly above them if we're carrying physical form. We do it because we can. Now, in the center of this column, there is this massive oblong sphere. The center of the sphere is a golden white bowl of light. It's surrounded by numerous rings of multicolored lights. They're all sending out waves of like a misting electrical field. It's not like water, and it absorbs right into us. And the golden white bowl of light is the highest of the deepest, purest eternal love. Then comes well-being, then gratitude, and then great wealth, great abundance, great prosperity, gentleness, kindness, generosity, and humbleness, bliss, joy, tranquility, benevolence, great, tremendous prosperity, tremendous abundance. And then we discover that all of this is a reflection of the gods that we all are. At the top of this tower, we designed it so the golden ocean could come cascading down 360 degrees, as it's doing right now, as it's flooding all of us, bathing and saturating us in this beautiful mist of electrical energy. pure, deep, eternal love, gratitude, and peace, flooding us all 24/7 eternally. We are drops of this golden ocean. We also hold the essence of this golden ocean, and the golden ocean is the drops, and the drops are the golden ocean. And the only illusion is separation. We continue to ascend. We come into full contact with our meditative sphere. It's at center circle. We all created this sphere well over 3.5 years ago. It houses well over 1,500 of our meditations in perpetual motion. Millions, hundreds of millions of us. Every day, 7 days a week, for over 3.5 years, with the highest of intent. The deepest of eternal love, gratitude, and peace. And we're flooding this planet. All of this is literally flooding, saturating, in it, on it, above it, and below it, 24/7, with all of this vibrational frequency of the highest high, of the deepest, 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 purest, purest eternal love. The vibrational frequencies continue to ascend. You can feel it. And we never relinquish, and we never diminish, and we never lose power. We are always. I'll join you in the meditation, return to close us out. Take an easy breath in through the nose and an easy breath out through the mouth. Move easily and slowly. Our self-nature has no questions. It needs no answers. Our self-nature is absolutely light, full of light. It knows no darkness. It has never met any darkness. We need to drop the ego. Just look in. Search for where it is. First find it. Don't worry about self-nature right now. Just go in, search for the ego, and you will not find it. Instead, you will find your self-nature, luminous, fragrant like a lotus flower. One never comes across such beauty anywhere else. It is the most beautiful experience of this life. And once you have seen your own lotus of light, your own lotus blossoming, the ego is finished forever. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the night, the following morning, and we will return here Sunday, August 29th, 2021, 3 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call.